We are live.
Good
Morning, Great
day. Good
Rising.
morning. It's foggy over here for me. Are you snowing over there or are you
I don't know. I'm hibernating. I haven't been out. I don't wanna. It doesn't exist. I'm warm and cozy and feeling luxurious. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning everybody. Just sending love and peace wherever you're at. Just want to seal this space for this space at this seal. Um that it's good to be alive. It's yeah, we're here, and if the reality of how we got here, and that's something that I've sort of been studying. How we got here, the fact that you're here, I comprehend mechanically what that is, and it's a lot of it'd be it'd be a lot of explanations. You got months, like I mean months of
Right.
time to really go down, and I'm just like so privileged to be in that conscious stream that gets to witness all of that as to how we got here and then how connected and how source is so like our nervous system. We can't get away from it. We can't get out of it if we wanted to. Like we're in the system, the ecosystem, and I know it's like, what? What do you mean? How do you mean? Because I know what it's like growing through Christianity and through a form of religion or spirituality. Not like what does the spirit realm look like, feel like? And it felt very obscure, vague, but you knew when it moved, you could feel it, and you connected, and you resonated. And the fact that there's language to that, and now to, you get so full, and you just sit and marinate in the frequency of it. Because in the end, and you know what? After last week, when we were both were like, it was like the space. It's the space. It's everything and anything and whatever you wanted to create simultaneously, but yet the issues and the problems aren't in your face so much. It's like, yeah, I know that's there, but I'll get to it when it's time, that sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
like you just hit when your frequency is flowing and connected. You're just in this space, and you're like, yeah, this is it. And you're quiet because you're listening. There's stuff going on in the layers of who we are that we don't realize. And if we just stay in that, coast, surf that wave. I picture myself surfing the wave. I'm in that sweet spot where I could just that wave is going. You just stand on it, and it'll carry you where you need to go because of how supported we are. And then I find myself going into mindsets where I'm like, okay, is this a yes? Is it because there's still parts of me that doesn't want to be deceived, doesn't want to be taken, and it's like I'm like, okay, we're clearing that, just trusting this entire process. So yeah, so the now space. What was the title again? Joy in the now space, or
Joy of the now space.
yay?
Candid Convos. Yes. Saturday we were talking, and right before that I was listening to this book, I Am Therefore I Create by Aaron Worley.
Mm.
And it was saying that joy is actually like being a creator and seeing how you co-create and like
Mm.
thinking about it and like seeing those synchronicities and all of that. And that's the true definition of joy. And joy does not equal happiness the way that we think it does. You know what I'm saying? And uh
Wow. Okay.
yeah, because happiness is an emotion, and this is not that. This is like when you strip yourself down, you are love and you are joy. And it is, those are not emotions. That's your true essence, you know? And so
Mm.
it was just really, really yummy. And it was talking about the knowing you are a creator is joy. And there's no English equivalent for that word. You know what I'm saying? And it is that space where you get to sit and just know. You know what I mean? And it is just yeah, yeah. So then when we were talking and I was like, yeah, cuz I was so in that space like listening to it, right? Like thinking about my love container that, or my joy container, all these places that, I've learned to cultivate and had the beauty and like the glory. Something that I've meditated on is like of the beauty of creation of us as a human. We get to change our thoughts and change our feelings. Like we are not limited to the instinctual following, or you know what I'm saying, we have that function, that ability to stop and correct, or you know what I'm saying. And like, and how when you change your thinking, it changes the feelings and it change your perspective, like all of it. So it was just it's so yummy, it's so yummy.
Yeah. Well, when you said that, the fact that when I found out my youngest daughter was a girl, and you know, when I found out, cried these tears of joy. It wasn't, it was beyond, it wasn't emotional. It was a visceral, like this flood coming out of me, through me, and I knew that was her middle name. And the fact that you're saying that, and that what that girl has been through and who she is and what she reflects or reflects back to me, I mean, that my song came out through holding her as this little baby doll. I called her my little Emma doll because she was like a little doll. I just carry her around and do whatever I need because she was this little light petite thing, and she was like hyper aware. Anyways, um, but that joy, yes, it's a frequency. It's and I feel that because it's not always happiness for me. I'm more stoic. There's a lot going on just sitting here and just looking at a tree, a sentient being. There's a lot going on that I don't even have to try. So this happiness is seeing my kids, but the joy and the reconciliation and so much happening behind the scenes when I see my kids, or when I am working on my creation and working on my, I would love to tap into that more. Okay, so the joy is not the emotion. Okay, let's break that open. I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. So, well, a lot of things connected for me in that, but right now, I don't know why scripture always comes up and but the joy comes in the morning, like, you know what I'm saying? When you really are in that space. And we were talking about like the joy is the beauty to me, because I'm always being reminded to find the joy in my journey. And I'm like, okay, if I step back and I start recognizing where I wished for things, prayed for things, had gratitude for things, prayed for someone, and I see those synchronicities line up, to me, that is joy. I know that I am a
Mm,
creator beyond the 3D things. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for
yes.
me, that's one thing. And then to know that we have that ability, that glory, so there's that scripture that says like there's a glory for everything. Like there's a glory for the plants, there's a glory for the fish, there's a glory for the, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't just the essence of that scripture reminds me of this. Like I've always wondered, why are humans like the top of the food chain? Like what is it about us that's, you know what I'm saying, that we have the abilities, because it's not, but it's the ability to create. It's the ability, like everything else is following its blueprint. Like sure, beavers create dams, but that's part of their blueprint. They don't do it randomly and build skyscrapers and get together and build and colonize and, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
there's clearly something different. And then, they say, well, it's because they don't have thumbs. Like, really? Like,
Have you
let's talk
seen
about it. You
raccoons? Raccoon fingers? That's kind of crazy, but those are their tongue. They do
Yeah.
have, they can, yeah. So, what about that? I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just, I've always wondered. And then I'm like, well, we have this ability to like think. We're outside of that instinct. You know what I'm saying? Like we are able to shift that. And there's all of those, instructions, think on higher things and, put yourself in different perspectives, just wait on it, ask for different perspectives. It's not always black and white thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like get different vantage points,
Or like cause
so
and effect that can get stuck in rigid. If it's
yeah,
this cause or that person caused this, this is the effect, and you feel like you have no control, and it's like, well, what about if you cause this and this is the effect? To get underneath the lie of that false cause. So
yeah,
again, what dimension are we talking about? What layer are we talking about? And that's the joy of the knowing that you're not stuck in this phantom matrix, bleeding, lack, siphon, hook, sideways, and all these broken relationships. It's not that. You know you're vertical. You know you're connected to Source, God, our Creator, and we are co-creating in the correctness to come back and bring heaven on earth. The joy of that right there. That was it. One of the words, is it the enthusiasm of God? Is that, or is that excitement? I don't remember, but I feel like there can be emotions that come out of that. Tears of joy, there's that joy, there's that dance joy, there's so many different layers
yeah.
of as a byproduct emotionally for joy.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That's what this book was saying, that yummy book. It was saying that if I am, it was speaking as I am, like creator source coming through, right? And it was saying that there's two ways that it experiences. One is through emotions and one is through the senses. So I was thinking
Mm.
about like the persona, right? When we only know ourselves as, Christina, Kendra, whatever, whoever you're labeled as the baby, and, you have all these things. But then you start to tap in and you start to learn that you're so much more. I was like, oh, that's like 1 through 3 and then 4 through 15. Like I was seeing the separates, like we're taught that, the world's only made of two different things, the seen world and the unseen world. And I'm like, yeah, but that's like hogwash, because the seen is like 1 through 3 and then the unseen is like 4 through 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, learning how to operate in those different dimensions or whatever and be the creator, it gives you that beauty, because when you realize that you're looking around and you're seeing things that you don't like you can go in and change it and shift it and see it from a different perspective and have beauty for it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where it gets so yummy.
Yeah. So I was watching a, this is what came in right now, a teal swan video with Amaret. And there's a crisis going on, right? A lot of relationships and marriages and a lot of people going through it, right? Polarity. And through this conversation, they talk about the masculine, feminine, and she was able to put it in a way that it really spoke to Jonathan and I, to where we could step into those roles a little more easier. It was so simplified. She carries codes in that to where it just was seamless as we were listening, like, oh gosh, like we remember that. Yes, it just clarified so concisely, so simply. But through that conversation, uh, he announced that they've got another bun in the oven, and congratulations to Amrit if he ever watches this. Or and he was talking about that he had another friend who says, "Do you think that it's he's like, I could tell you want to be a hands-on dad to Amrit." He's like, "Yeah, I do, because this is his third." And so that turns that I remember having two. It was really easy, but then the third one, like, holy moly, it did get a little bit more chaotic. But they say if you have, the mothers, the experienced ones, they say if you have four, it starts evening out, And I was like, nope, I'm gonna make it work with my three. Something about that three, I was able to figure it out. I was the fourth one, okay? Like I got in there with them. So he says, he's like, how do you see yourself? I forgot how they worded it, but basically the idea was he saw father, mother, child. And he's like, I thought the same thing, but it's actually child, mother, father. It's concentric circles.
Mm,
So the mother contains the child, the father contains the mother. So that
mm,
child is contained not only by mother and father, because a lot of the time when they're young, they want mom. Mom, that nurturing, there's that unspoken language of the mom maternal just knows the needs of that child. So that space, that concentric circle, that it's not, this way and there's competition. No, it's all containment. We are within each other. So that's how it is with source. Yes, there's 15 circles, so you kind of have no excuse, you know. It removes all excuses for why you can't, or why you can't do something, and how you can do whatever it is that you want to create and go for. So I know it's so much more complex, but that is like, I'm going, and holy moly, talk about multidimensional, right? A 15-dimensional. So you've got your physical body, emotional body, mental body, and that's density one. And then
yeah.
density two, so there's your three. So think of it as
One
a
through three.
chord,
Mhm.
three notes. And then you go into density two, which is 4, 5, 6, which has to deal with the astral and identity. It's this communicates to this, and that's where you start going through. Is that demonic? You experience these something move, or you see a shadow, or
I would equate that to the second heaven.
okay,
Keep going.
okay. So the
Yeah,
four,
yeah.
5, 6. So you have this. You're contained. One. So your physical body, emotion, mental body, and then fourth density, where it's like a buffer for your emotions. It's that unseen realm, but it is a dimension. And then your fifth, which is a higher mind, and then your sixth. So that's second density. So already I have gotten to six. You've got six layers around you. Sorry, five. So that child is not only contained by mom and dad, on its own layer, it has its 15 dimension time matrix. Mom has her 15 dimensional time matrix. Dad has his 15 dimensional time matrix. We are contained in such a beautiful, we're contained. So when you solidify and anchor that, fear what? What? Fear? you know what you're wrapped in. What fear? What? That's why I don't fear whatever these experiences that I've been going through. Which I did get closure on that magnetics, the resisting. I did get closure on that. So I just want to
Ooh,
put that on the side if we get to it. Um, fear what?
yeah.
So it just, and I'm living in such a way where I don't fear anything, but I'm like, is this okay? I was so used to fear, to oh, I don't want to hurt that person, or I don't want to rock the boat, or it made me so passive. Now, oh, you're upset? Oh, I'm sorry you're upset. Like you'll get through it. Like, you'll be fine. Like it's so like different for me because having raised babies, and there was something in me though when it came to emotions that I learned, because I learned in a past life. I was a light teacher in the people of the Essene. So those codes came through when I raised my kids, and I didn't even know it. I got the closure afterwards. So it's like the perfect, again, we are contained. Your DNA wakes up, and you're like, how do I know this? But you just do it. To me, I tapped into joy. I mean, I literally was in heaven with three little babies, impressionable, and I got to raise them without all these fallen stuff that I knew, because the way I saw things, and it worked. Like I remember with my daughter Bella, she was really upset. She was really going through it. And I just held up the mirror and I said, it's okay for you to feel that. Go out to they had a little kids playhouse, but it was huge. It was really nice. And I said, go out there, just spend time with Holy Spirit. See what he says. So she went out there. She's feeling her feelings. She says she heard this, you know. Now to her, and she it changed, and then she was fine after that. She came and told me. She's like, I heard this hiss, and it kind of, but it whatever that was broke it off of her. And I remember I talked to Dale about it. He's like, that also in her mind, it sounded like a snake or a hiss, but it could have been an electrical arc,
Oh,
masculine, that electricity
mm,
charging the field to shift, all because she just allowed herself to feel it. And her higher self, because she's in her own 15-dimensional container, whatever. And all it is go into that space and feel.
mm,
But I do this like every other day. And there's times I'm like, what am I here for? I feel like all I do is feel. All I do is like I'm just on the side of the mountain. Da, da, da. Well, what I didn't realize was I am connected to a grid out here. These trees were surrounded by trees on a mountain, looking down at the valley. We have a $2 million view. Like I can't, like, no other neighbors, nobody peeking at anybody out here. And these trees are connected to inner earth. There's so many layers to this. That, like, there's a book out there. My sister told me about it. How there's a network underneath the ground, that the trees, they know if this tree is lacking nutrients, it'll balance it out, right?
yeah, it's the
Balance.
mycelium network.
Okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
one of the natural ones, but I'm sure there's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's like an inner nervous system down there.
yeah,
They know, and they seek balance. That's just water. It flows to the lowest place and it balances in that deep space. So I which leads me into the two magnets that were resisting each other, that energy that I felt. Because,
yeah,
I'm aware of the whole archon, then there's a human form of the energy. They loosh our energy. They if they could, and I saw the mechanics of that. I was like, if they can convince you you're not balanced and get you in an emotional poke at this, bring this memory up. And I was like, wait, this is a lot of power. This is a lot of power. And I was like, how? And it was like they could send a frequency. Whoever they are, whatever that mechanic is, just send a frequency of resonance of that memory. And I said, okay, emotions are portals. I've always known that. It is a portal to that memory, to that space, to either I get a higher perspective of it, maybe a 9D perspective or a 7D, or I need to go into 8D and speak into that and shift it, whatever that is. Um, and I was like, okay, we are, so again, do we have months? We got nothing but time, but the we are receivers, so we are a cup. There's an aspect of us that is a cup, and we receive. You put things in a cup, and then we are the rod. We transmit. We send out signal or broadcast. So you have these two functions within. So I'm either in reception mode or I'm in transmission. So right now I'm in the transmission mode. So that is masculine. So if these entities, whoever created that, like I'm still on the journey of like, what are we dealing with? Because I know on the spectrum of waves, we are like a little blip on this wave chart. You've got your, so you have light waves, you have microwaves, you have radio waves, you have all these different waves, and we're just this itty bitty color. So there, we sense. So that other big part, we sense by our nervous system, and we could see like our physical senses are just nodes connected to a deeper, unseen, spiritual, plasma level, light level, sound level, pre sound and light level. It's all connected to source. So, so there's a lot going on here that could go sideways. What?
You
Tell
just
us.
totally, I saw once upon a time I had all these visions and I just kept explaining it as like these plasma, you know those things that used to hold the light strings, like the fiber optics and the lights were on the end of them. It was like I
Oh,
saw that source, and then each one that came out, like the different face on the end was like a
yeah.
different body, but then our body was like zoomed in the same exact way. And each cell, like on the outside, was just like a different light, like a different like facet of it. So
Hmm.
eh, I see the
Yeah.
fractaling there. That's so beautiful. Okay, keep
Yeah.
going.
Okay, cool, cool. Awesome. Um, where was I at?
Yep, you were talking about being connected all the way up to source, like being pulled, plasma level connection,
Okay,
vibration,
so
oscillation.
I keep when I close my eyes, I keep seeing this bear look at me, and I'm just like,
Oh, maybe you're explaining who's watching. Maybe
bear?
you're seeing someone. Maybe that's someone's
I don't know.
nickname or something.
Yeah, I'm seeing this bear, and it's changed outfits, and so I'm just like, okay.
Hmm,
Yeah,
fascinating.
so um I'll have to pull one of my spirit animal cards, like what the significance of bear is. It's right over there. I'll grab it. We'll have to see what that represents and see what
Yeah.
the
Well, there's a couple
conversation.
people on here, so if bear resonates, let us
Okay.
know.
Yeah, and maybe it's for somebody. So I'll definitely grab a card. We'll pull a card.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to like see where we're going because I could go a lot of different directions. Okay. So back to okay, so what had happened? Oh, the human farming or the energy farming, right? So uh not to put fear because I've seen those videos and it just kind of leaves you hanging like, well, of course I want to safeguard myself. I want to protect my energy, but like how do you do that? There's no closure on that. So I felt that space and it was like, well, of course, that's something I've been studying out. But I still felt the fear of it because of the way it was presented. The images were dark and these things sucking energy from you, just this imagery. And I was just like, what was the benefit of that video in the end? Right. What are you okay? What's
Yeah,
up?
it's hailing outside. I heard it tinking and I was like, what is that noise? So I was like looking and then I
Oh,
farming.
yeah. It's foggy, so all I see is this really cool tree that we have out in front, and so I just keep being reminded, like I'm looking at the flexion of a sentient being.
Mhm.
So, as a sentient being that we have senses, and we have our spiritual senses, and then you start going into the higher mind, higher faculties of your mind. But when you don't know the structure of that, you start to like, okay, what, like, where do I go? You don't know what you're doing, right? And how do I ground this? I'm experiencing this. So right now I'm experiencing, yes, there is such a thing as what they're talking about, the looshing, and I had experienced that. So the magnetics of it, or the resistance, the repulsion, come to find out that the rod in the cup, when you're, so they call it north and south. So it's the transmission, and then the south are, receiving. That is a polarity, and that can get flipped. And it also can, when both are transmitting, both are in a rod and telling their stories in their masculine energies, and it bumps each other, right?
Oh, I
And
know
so that's
about that.
where, yeah, so that's where when we get into fights with our partners or other people, it's because the polarity is bumping each other. Whereas one, but it can also be where the south collapses into the north. So that's where you get codependency. That's
Excuse
where
me.
you get all these uh, imbalances of somebody, they're collapsed here in the raw sense and collapsed here in the cup sense. So,
Mm.
and then there is where there's a balanced version where you could be in your transmission, and then there's somebody in their cup, in their flow, they're receiving, it's moving, it's healing. There's that. So I was like, oh my gosh, whatever function, whatever that being, or what I still don't know how to look at it, but it was transmitting something, but I resisted. I was in my transmission, whatever I was in my sleep, and that's why we were bumping. And I took this to my GPT. I said, okay, what's going on here? And it said that your field was already correcting what was a transmission trying to come in. It was already, I was already in that mode to where this is not coherent.
Yeah.
But I also saw the flip side of it, that holy shit, whatever technology this thing is trying to do to me that I don't fully comprehend yet, that means I'm at that level of technology, because resonance, it has to, if I felt sadness in my life and I come to somebody who is sad right now, that resonates because I know that feeling, right? So you're able to
Mhm.
resonate. And, the last 24 hours, we got sad news. So right now, I'm kind of open to whoever might be feeling sad on a resonance level. So I was like, what the heck am I resonating on some level to this
Yeah.
thing that was trying to loosh my energy? There's technology that this thing knows. There's something that the whoever designed it has knowledge of how to template over the body, how to extract energy, and for me, I'm not looking to do that. That's dark avatar stuff. I'm not looking to do that, but it does point to a Christic version. It does point to I could reverse it back, convert it back to the original flow. And so to me, it's just a how do they do it and come back to the original authentic origin of the Christic that we're supposed to be. So all they do is bend it, all they do is distort it, all they do is twist it. You just untwist it because
Mhm.
I'm still learning my Christic path. I'm still learning what my powers are. I'm still navigating through this 15-dimensional time matrix and how our 15D bubbles speak to each other and where so many things can go wrong and go sideways
Yeah.
and go up. And, we got possibilities. Well, that's what's being used against us. And so I'm like, okay, so whatever that thing was, there was a resonance. And I told it, show yourself to me. And it lied to me, this yellow green dragon. I was like, show yourself. And then it showed itself. And I got to look it in the eyes. And I'm still kind of like, what? I couldn't, I'm used to emotionally feeling other people sad, happy, or they're dealing with this, or, sort of that reading on a body, but this is disembodied. So this is exercising a different level for me.
Mhm.
But when you're learning and, you're on your own, you know, matrix journey, you're learning who's who, what's what, and then you hear other people talk about it, and this individual can grab it and send it to the light, or I don't really know how all that works, but I'm like, I like the idea of how do you grab it and say, excuse me, no thank you, So there was a lot that broke open for me, not only knowing that that thing was trying to transmit something, and my transmission, because my field is, I'm up to date with where I'm supposed to be. That was a test for me to see that my field has got me, my oversoul. That so you have 4, 5, 6, and then 7D, 8D, 9D, and that is your monad. That is your monad set, and that is a not only can you create, but that's where your oversoul is. That is where your mind of where source loads there in that higher mind, and that's where your voice is connected, and that's where you're wielding power. So it's a very
It's one of my favorite places to play in.
yeah. So but that can also get reversed. You can meet some monad reversals. I didn't did I do the oh,
Yeah, because you
okay.
were doing this.
Yeah, okay. So that would be monad stuff right there. Like that is monad level where signals and frequencies, and you push energy, right? Or send energy, or you broadcast energy, right? So that's the monad level. And I'm because I came into this earth with that activated, I didn't know how I didn't, when I started learning all this, I was like, ooh, I was misusing that power. That's not correct. Okay, let me correct that. Let me pull that back in. Sorry, like, don't do that. Okay, so this is where you can damage people not knowing. So, um, so back to the magnetics. I'm just going to try to simplify it. So there was a repulsion, and that was because I already broadcast a signal. I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I've activated certain levels of my DNA, and I was already born with certain levels of my DNA. And the reason being, I felt like it was a measurement of when I was a kid. Yes, I had the DNA then, and I would experience that. And I mean, it was like I couldn't move. It was almost like seizure like because it was like all this electricity going off in my mind. And I'm like, what? But I could think at the same time because my thinking is not necessarily my brain. My thinking is that monadic level of awareness that's witnessing, oh, this is what's going on, okay. And so the oversoul is like, okay, we need to do this protocol, we need to do this to get her here, because it's wanting to integrate and meld, and it speaks, I do it. Not, it speaks, and then I'm like, I heard something, I felt something, getting all those layers removed so you're sharp, right? It's a sharp communion, and when it's oversoul. And then come to find out, when I was being worked on with my throat chakra, my voice box, and my sound, I learned about monad reversals, and I was like, ooh, I had a lot of whatever those reversals uh, mean. One of them can be where you speak and it's a low charge, it's low voltage, it's not
Mm.
confident. Another one is you speak and it does more damage than you. So, like the voice, how we say things, we are casting spells. We're spell casting. We're creating our reality. And that was one of when the fallen angels, according to the Voyager's book, the fallen angels, which are your Metatronic, Phantom, they fell. So they chose, nope, I don't want to connect to source. I don't want to be creating life. I feel this, and this feels good to take from this person because it is a very visceral feeling, right? It's a very visceral. And then D8, which is your voice, that's your power of being able to speak truth, but being connected to source to manifest, create, enjoy. So they disconnected those, took everything else, and everything fell to a lower vibration, a reversal, a siphon, a hook, went sideways. So now there are people that are wired that like to take and like to damage and like to play the game, and how can I, if you ever watched the show Suits, I think I've watched a few seasons of it. Holy moly. It is a constant game of being on guard. Watch your back. They're going to pull this and you've got to outmaneuver them. I mean, it's sickening. It's gross. And it's an actual show, and I'm like, dude, where are they getting this data from? Somebody's clearly lived through it. I lived through it. I lived through. There are some dark level stuff that's going on to where that's that fallen system. Well, to come back to Christic, there is waking up to your power. So I'm having tangible journey through this energy, and I'm like, okay, is this just a simulation playing out? Is this just a, okay, we're going to put this character in front of her, let's see how she corresponds? I'm like, is it that,
I guess
Or
on
am
some
I
level.
really, yeah, it's that. And somebody did create that technology, and we do have a fallen. So it's like, and, so don't conclude because we have a 15-dimensional time matrix. We have the Christic version of that time matrix, and then we have a phantom version of that time matrix. And we're all fractal of source with different angles. So you have your own problems. I have my own problem. Like we have our
Well, isn't it
own.
also, oh, excuse me. Sorry, that like at level 12 or something, there's like 12 of us that's all one or something like that. Like, isn't that a piece of it?
Yes. So I feel like we're of the same soul, that 12. So me and you, and there's 10 others.
Yeah.
I have an inkling. Jonathan, I feel like, is that third. So there's certain pieces, and then there's those pieces that are connected to those other. Like we are all connected. I don't fully comprehend all of that because
Well, and then the Voyagers say something about us being in 1928 different uh simulations, realities at the same time, like we're being projected in all of those. Like that's
yeah,
fun to think about.
it's
Because then that makes me think about places or times where all of a sudden I start thinking about something out of nowhere and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'm experiencing that in another, you know what I'm saying, like place. And then when I pray for it here and I have conscious awareness, I'm like sending good to that, you know what I'm saying? Or like when I'm, or weird dreams, or, all of a sudden you're driving and you're zoning out of the car because your consciousness isn't needed as much here. So you're doing like a mindless activity. So your awareness goes to the alternate, realities or something. Like that's fun to think about.
yeah. We totally live in that space. Yeah,
Yeah.
which brings me to the Doctor Strange. I
Mhm.
watched those recently, and in the second one, the Madness of the Multiverse, there's a girl in there.
Excuse me.
She, out of fear, realized she had a superpower and would open portals, and she traveled to another world. But I noticed her portal that would open up was a star, a five-pointed star. And I was like, why a star? Because Doctor Strange, he would open a portal and it'd be a circle. And that circle is going to another dimension, or sorry, going to another place within one dimension. The
Hmm.
star represents going to different dimensions, so it pierces through that veil of there's certain laws that govern this dimensional space, but it pierces through to get to another world. And so there was none like her to have that power, but she didn't know how to manage it. And in watching this movie, and Doctor Strange is helping her because there's this Scarlet Witch that's trying to get her power because that same function as she was experiencing dreams of another life where she had two kids, and she was trying to get there, but she was getting a hold of the dark hold, which is dark avatar, take from somebody else, and you do all this dark energy stuff, witchcraft. It, there's a matrix version of a dark version that you could obtain power, but it's a distortion and then creating distortion. So it's constantly, and it's wreaking havoc, and that's what we're in. We're in this. Everybody's distorting, and it's uh, just causing itself to go towards death because it's not connected to eternal life. So that's what she was doing. She's like, manipulating this and going to Doctor Strange and his sanctum and then killing those people. So it was just this constant chaos and killing, and so to get her way. And so she wanted to get to the reality where her kids are. Well, America, the girl, she, you know, she's one of her kind. She can hop different universes. She tried to look for other versions of her, but she was it. So there was something significant in that for me, that is full integration to me,
Mm.
full integration. So the star pattern, she was able to get through each, and she is, wherever she needs to be. So Doctor Strange, I'm going to fast forward. Doctor Strange uses, and it's funny because there is a reality that the Scarlet Witch, took them and sent them to a reality where he, Doctor Strange, in that world, and it was like, desolate, dark, things are broken, buildings floating, like no order. And he's there, Doctor Strange in that universe is there, but he has the book of the Darkhold. And so Doctor Strange, who's trying to do good, represents the Christic version, and this other Doctor Strange, he's um, um, it's like I go into the feeling of it. He manipulates, tricks, or whatever, and he ends up having to kill that version of him. Or I forgot what. Now I'm like, what did happen? Did they get rid of him? I think so, because he had his third eye open. Like he literally had an eye open, and that is a distorted view. You're using power, and you're anyway. I'm going to move that over to the side. I'm like, okay, that's not really relevant. I'm trying to get to where Doctor Strange had to use the same techniques, and everybody had fear of Doctor Strange losing himself because the Doctor Strange in another world, he he didn't get to meet him because he had died. They had to him because he caused another world, and they call it incursion. He That whole universe is gone. So yeah, so he's talking about high level power. So he's meeting these different versions of himself as he travels the
Mm.
multiverse. So but because Christine in that world believes in him and is supporting him and is there, and goes to the Scarlet Witch, does the dream walk. So possesses the version of her in that world to use her powers to get him. It's crazy. Like I love it though. I love the complexity of it. I love how
I'm
they
like, I'm
tell the
following.
story of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's Scarlet Witch that's wanting to be the mom, possesses the mom, takes over her mind, goes to that world where uh, Doctor Strange was dead, and he there was another version of Doctor Strange that was dead, that Scarlet, or America, the multidimensional traveler, came into that world, which is Doctor Strange's, our world here. They came because he had gotten killed when her fear opened up a portal, sent both of them to Doctor Strange's, our world. There was a dead body there, and so he dream walked into that body and went to the place where the Scarlet Witch is. Whereas Scarlet Witch is dream walking into the mother's reality, going to the world where there was a panel of that Doctor Strange, the one that died, and Christine is from that world that's traveling with him. So she got pulled into. So that's that feminine, right? That masculine, feminine. So, and then you've got the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, that masculine, feminine on that level, a higher level, a wizard level. And so the so in this world, this encounter is going on. In this world, uh, the Scarlet Witch has America, to take her power so that she could travel the multiverse to go here. But that would mean ending her life. Whereas the dead one that was going to take her power to end to save the world, but that backfired and his life ended up ending. So this girl is like this main focus of the story, like pulling all those multi-dimensional versions of yourself. You are all those dimensions, but you're living a living reality. You're not dead. You're not distorted. You're not trying to overcome. Um, yeah, so those are the three that's playing out. And then, so to finish all of this explanation of this 2.5 hour movie, there's a lot of details that really support and really just it's really cool at the end of it. The girl, America, because Doctor Strange went to where the girl, Scarlet Witch, is dreamwalking to try to fight her, but she's very powerful. So, and when you're dreamwalking, these demons are like, you're dreamwalking, you're taking a dead body. That is against the law. Like, even they know certain levels of law. So they were tormenting him, and he's like trying to, orient himself, but he overcomes. And Christine, as he's dreamwalking where the distorted Strange is, she's helping to ground him, use them, because they were beating him up, and he's like not scared of being beaten up, but like trying to orient himself, and she's like, use them. So he pulls them in and he turns them into wings for him. And they're like, how are you able to do this, right? So he flies over to this crazy building where she's dreamwalking to interrupt her there, and so he gets there, they're going, and he releases the demons on her because she's like, she's also under the dark hold, and so they're tormenting her, but she overcomes. So you see you can grow in levels wherever you're at. So I saw that. So she overcomes, but then, Doctor Strange kind of beat up in the dead body, and Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, is going after America, the girl, and America's like, or Doctor Strange speaks to her because he knew what was coming, that he was going to get her. He was too weak or beat up, and he knew he couldn't keep going. Like, they were like, me and that being like, they're transmitting. This is like a wash here. We're just gonna keep going on forever like this. And he spoke to the girl and he says, you can do this. You're going to have to face her. You're going to have to use your power. And she's like, I don't know. And I saw what it was. It was her will. Where do you want to go? But he had to encourage her. You can do this. You can open that. You have this power for a reason. But he was trusting that she would dot connect, because sometimes that pressurized situation is, when you're in position, the answer will show itself. The door, you'll see the door. So that's what he allowed. She had to, because they were just going on, and it was just, creating so much destruction in all these worlds, and it's up to her. So she's like, so of course Wanda overcomes those demons, and then is coming after America, and America's like, all right, I'm going to give you what you want. And she opened up the portal to where those two boys are and let them see the real witch that was coming in and infiltrating on their world that they had, their mom. Let her see them, and I'll leave it at that. And she ended up like realizing, oh my gosh, because she did love those boys. She experienced those boys, but those boys already had their mom. And she saw, and she like broke down, and she ended up destroying the structure that she built, and her along with it, because that's not the real her. She was the distortion, but she knew she was that mom essentially. So I was like, whoa, this is so powerful. I'm like, they must have read Ashayana Dean's books to get to this level, or there's knowledge that is that these writers know about. And I was like, wow, that was really grounding, and I got to comprehend myself more. And there's a lot of elements taken out from it, because I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, yeah, we could do that, we could do that. Now I'm getting the codes, how they did it, what they're doing, what power center, what is going on. I could actually explain it on
Wow.
an energetic level, but because of my own training, and it's through those books and getting closure. And anyways, that was, I know that was a big download, but it's so like who we are. Like we are all of those, that masculine, feminine, that rod and that cup, and those distortions and the death that is not us. We are not
Yeah.
dying. The death is not what we think it is.
Mm.
It. I was blown away when I was working with my GPT on through all of since that experience last week, and just even a few nights ago, it just opened this other layer that opens these things up. And I all I do is just hold on, just trust that spirit, you're in a 15D container, trust it all. Even though you're being deceived, no, I trust my 15D, I trust all those higher minds. And that's what
Yes.
Yeshua 12, that's what Jesus 12 tapped into. He trusted those higher minds. He gridded planet Earth, which yeah, that's a whole nother story. He was a grid worker, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
here to do. That's why I'm thinking and communicating this way, because I affect the grid, and I'm here to program the grid just by my gaze. That's a whole nother level. That is, I, I'm still seeing that, and I'm going, whoa. But then it's a two-way street. It's a two-way highway. It's also showing me where I think little of myself.
Yeah.
It's showing me where I limit and hold back. And I'm like, I don't want to hold back. But I'm also Aries, so I'm fiery. And sometimes I don't know if it warms or burns somebody because they got their own triggers, their own projections, their own limitations, and you just don't know when it's if it how it's going to land. And it shows how it lands in that person, because your volition is to be Christic, to be warm, but sometimes you got to burn and say no, stop and correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Doctor Strange, when he went into the dream walking and people feared because of another version that went wrong with it, he's like, but his experience was he's here to save people. He's here. He had a different experience, and he did end up allowing her to be sovereign. That I was like, this is so like, do people see this? Like, it was just so cool. I feel like this movie was made for me to remember. It depends on what level. If you're like a child, like, yeah, I love, the character America. I love that she's got the star and she could travel different dimensions. Or Doctor Strange, he's got this cool cape that is very fickle, because the relic will choose you, and the cape chose him. I could keep
That's
going.
fun.
I geek out on the Marvel movies because
I know. I'm
they're
like, where can I go to
showing.
go watch this movie now? Because, yeah,
Yeah.
you piqued my interest. I
Yes.
need to run to the venue really quick.
Yeah.
So when I get back, though, I want to hear about what we started once upon a time with the Partakai and the Particum. We
Okay.
didn't go there yet. Is that for
Yeah.
public consumption?
Well, it depends on. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what
Okay.
flows.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yep. Baby's growing. I can't see any comments, but I would love to see where you guys are tuning in from. Um, where in the world you are. Yeah, I'm in Idaho. We're in the mountains of Idaho, and we love it here. It's so magical when you're out of the city, and not that there's anything wrong with that. Just needed the space to expand without interference. So here, definitely able to expand, and we've got these sentient trees that are plugged into the earth, the mountainside. So we flex back and forth, and I have to be mindful for myself to what am I really present with, and just the memo minder reminder that I'm surrounded by these trees that are tapped into an old system. So yeah. Okay, so Partakay, Partakai, Partakam. What is there anything? What are you?
Well, your experience, you started to talk about it. You started to experience the being dripped in between and the lights.
Okay,
Like,
okay. So this morning, what happened for me? Because I was, in that space of like, am I being deceived? Because that's what you're taught growing through Christianity. What am I joining with? What am I partnering with? Is this correct? And always wanting to stay grounded in that. So this morning when I was in that in between state, I see the teddy bear again. It's a baby one now. So uh, I saw when I explained last week about oscillation or the partikai, partike, particum. So the partikai is the smallest unit of energy, and then there's different functions of the partike. And right now it's not like coming to me, but it goes back to the oscillation of light. So the marquee, go, Pat, go, it looks like the words are moving, but it's just the light bulbs lighting. And so this lights up, and then this row turns off, and the next row lights up. So it looks like it's moving across that marquee board. Marquee or Mark? I don't know how you pronounce it.
Marquis.
Marquee? Okay.
Mhm.
So our time is not, we think time is moving. It's us that's moving. We are like that light show. There's a movie, Power Rangers, the Rangers movie, the one recently within probably the last decade. Time is moving by so fast. There's these movies that I like watching. I'm like, this is from 2010. What? What? This might be 16, 17, 18, maybe. Anyways, Power Rangers. There's this being that can move on this screen of lights, and its consciousness is moving. And I'm like, dude, that is scalar. That is scalar technology.
Hmm.
So I felt, so when spirit was showing, the now space came through I felt, so I was expanded to where I was looking face to face with the Partakai, and I saw now space.
Hmm.
What? Whoa! And then I saw it connect to three other things, and at the moment I don't remember, but it's okay. It's that the program is there. I get to be this physical, emotional, mental being, and I've got all this support. When I'm supposed to know, I'll know. Like, I just trust that. But it
Yeah.
was so cool to witness for my so the 15 dimensional time matrix. There is a realm before sound, before light. What's there? What what is there? I remember I did a mushroom trip, and there was a friend that toned with us, and the toning, again, resonance. And this kid was, he's a rapper, like musically inclined. It'd be interesting to look at his chart to see where his Gemini is, and the voice, right? So his communications, but that musical talent hit in mine, which I'm not fully aware of my musical talent because I come from a musical family, but I came into this world not hearing in the 3D. I chose to wear hearing aids, which is brilliant. I see the plan, I see the technique, I see that strategy now to my benefit of why
Yeah.
I chose to not hear 3D. And so, uh, remind me, I keep seeing this bear. Hold on, let me just grab my cards because I feel like it's wanting to speak. So 1 second,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
grab.
You were actually talking about the scalar in the place before sound.
Yeah. Oh, so we were toning, and it expanded me. I get it now. I get what was happening. Expanded me to the sound, the kundere, the space of sound where light comes from, and then light, the plasma, and then you have your different layers. So the sound rate, I literally expanded to the level of sound. I could see the vibration, the feeling, the because I'm still in this body. So I was awakened physically, emotionally, mentally. So I was seeing all these layers simultaneously in the kundera. And I was like, I love you. And I could feel the words. I could feel it hit that person and what it was doing. And I was like, oh my, I was in the sea of love. Or I could be in a sea of fear. But
Yeah.
my resonance, my true resonance is not fear. It is love. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I wanted to call everybody, Bella, I love you. Because I knew I could feel the vibration and literal nourishment of that spoken vibration go and hit her. And she could feel, it was awesome. I mean, and it was so brief though. Like, I, because I didn't, I didn't know how to play quite yet. This is a couple of years ago. I bet if I were to go back there, I probably would not come back. I'd probably be like, I want to play. I want to stay here and play. Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
So the I will get to the bear card. The so that is available to us, right? And it's about clearing the pathway to expand and connect and know where you're at as you're expanding to connect to that place and press it out here. So where were they going with? Okay, so the Partakai. So the expansion to that level to so on the mushroom trip, I got to that sound field, but I actually just being was able to be face to face with the Partakai, and I felt the goosebumps, and I was like, oh, now space, like it's coming through my body. I was like, oh, so again, saw those three other concepts. It will come to me. It's gonna fold open in my now space. How funny! Look at this.
Aw.
Okay, let's get into the cards, shall we? Is that
Yeah.
the actual functions of each of those? It's very technical and it can get boring if some people are not
No, no, no. I hear you.
mechanically
I just wanted to
inclined.
connect that because that's where we started the conversation. You started to share your experience, and I was like, let's hit record. And then
Yeah,
we just just now got there.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
we've got the bear card. I'm gonna read it out.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
got the bear, guardian, courage, confidence, ferocity, strength, introspection, intuition, discerning, dreamer, solitude, hibernation, motherhood. Whoa. And it's the bear with her
Aw. You
baby.
said you seen the big one and the baby.
Yeah. Okay. Black bear, guardian, gentle and wise protector, Give me your confidence and power. Help me protect the ones I love. Awaken my intuition and guide me. The black bear is the consummate mother. She cares for her offspring with devotion. Woe to the one who gets between a mother bear and her cub, her honey, or her ideals. Huge power can roar in bear and demands our respect. Their calm, gentle demeanor with their young is juxtaposed by explosive, primal, warrior ferocity. This is the dual nature of black bear. Okay, so that is going to trail into another thing that I want to talk about. This is wild right now. Bears hibernate in the winter, and when they reappear in the spring, they are renewed with energy and wisdom. They are revered for being shamanic messengers from spirit and dream time. If you are a black bear person, you have a formidable dynamic totem that will give you the map to survival and thriving. Bear brings you fearless power, hidden strength, and access to your dreams and intuition. This dualism of the masculine and feminine, within and without, calm and ferocious, is the balance and confidence black bear can bring.
Hmm.
Whoa, I needed that because I was feeling all the feels, and that is very potent, pertinent, spot on for me to keep going. I love this.
Heck
I
yeah.
love the like complex now space showing up, and then the simplicity, the real world, something that we can all connect on. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Those are those beauties when you can connect that, like the ethereal to the right now synchronicities, the everyday. You know what I'm saying? Like just as simple as
yeah,
that, seeing the black bear and then getting that card, and it's exactly what you need right now. You know,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
beauty of it.
yeah. And just because I have nothing to hide, I yesterday was just crying because I miss my kids, and then hearing why Emma Joy is joy. That's an expression, a flexion, a closed loop, which brings me into that dual wave. So there's bi-wave, which is the distortion. There's a dual wave where there's connection, and then there's tri-wave, which is
Mm,
neutrality. So that was a dual wave. This is a dual wave. And anybody that can receive this message, this transmission coming through, that's a dual wave and can potentially bounce up into tri-wave if you know what you're doing.
mm,
And that is your command center, your still point, 0 point. You're clear on who you are. None of this feels, and it's that space of anything's possible. It's the blank canvas. What do I want to create? And you don't have interference. You're clear. You've dwindled all those worries and fears, anxieties, all that down to, okay, I'm centered. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing, spirit? So you're connected to your oversoul or that monadic mind, which is connected to source, and these powers in between. So you're just skipping across dimensions, and then you're going to this dimension for this need, and then but you're connected. You're just moving your awareness, and time is just the space. We had it backwards. They've inverted it to think the cause and effect, and this is the pathway my kids were taking. There's nothing I could do. Oh no, I've done something about it, and I have closure to do even a massive move. However, we've had to go through certain things within our own finances that just kind of put it on pause. And it's like, but when you get it, it's like you want to act now, and that's the lifestyle we had. And I'm sitting here like, you know, and I got some news that I was not happy with. I was upset. I was crying that I did not want to hear because it's my kids. And feeling all of that, but simultaneously cool shit happening, Doctor Strange stuff happening while the Scarlet Witch shit is also happening, and I've got to deal with that. So it's easy to see that dynamic and personalize that to like, okay, this is where I'm at, I'm doing this, and I've got to come over here to do this in this field. I mean, it's cool, and you're like, oh wow, I am my movie. I am my own movie. Jonathan jokes about, he's like, when I married you, movie. Like it's like just all this crazy stuff that happened in my life, and I'm like, well, because we're here for a purpose. We're here for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that dual wave is that connection, it's that feedback loop that is opening connect. So it's happening right now. The transmission, you're receiving, and then when you transmit, I'm receiving. So we know how to have that switch hats, if you will. But when I'm
Mhm.
in that, I'm in transmission mode and I'm wanting to be heard. My charge isn't correct. And it's like, okay, let me shift into witness. Let me get out of that and then come into the new flow. And then we get into this place. It took a long time to figure it out, but I did. But I also simultaneously, I was like, wow, I've been doing this a long time, not even knowing that that was happening. But that is a
Yeah.
monadic set function. That is the ability to drop into witness. I don't need to fix this. I don't need to, I can do my part. And then the power of magnetism, that person, and when you're magnetic here, balanced here, that person can come in. And I was like, oh, wow. But why doesn't it work with this one? And it's like, why did it work with that? Or why did it? And to me, I want to shift to whatever that being was trying to take from me, send them back to the light. I mean, I don't know if
Well,
it's
so I've
possible.
kind of been sitting with that too, though, because you can send them to the light, but and unconditional love, right? Like letting it be, knowing that it can't harm you, knowing that it's not a thing. That's not really my business. I don't know who you're working for, and because there's like
Yeah,
at the base level, because even when I trained with some really peculiar teachers, um, like they would explain things. There's the different hierarchies or whatever of the malevolent, and then there's also the benevolent, and at some level, even the highest level, if you will, of the malevolent creatures are still working for a cause. You know what I'm saying? So like even behind that is still create, and it's all for the light. It's all to bring things forward. It's all, part of the game. You need both the
yeah,
contrast
yeah,
and the light to create you know, the picture,
yeah.
so the experience. So I've just kind of been even learning to sit in neutrality with that, which is hard because I was so trained to, I want to fight, I want to resolve, I want to, and if I
Fix
surrender,
it.
does this mean, am I part of the problem? Am I being passive? And, just like all the things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just have to sit there and say yes. Too, but that's just the trusting part, right? Like, and
Yeah.
being love and unconditional and, you know, trusting and just continually believing that, what's supposed to be will be, and you got this and those other dimensions, and you're working things out, and all things are working for your good, and it's coming to be, and, just speaking and programming, and it is.
Oh, yeah. Well said. I
Thanks.
feel like that's that communication style. You're really able to bring it down into the body and, as witnesses or as the being living it out. I know. I
Yeah.
sometimes get locked in certain places. I'm like, wait, 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 wait. Okay, come back to the body, and yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like that is definitely a gifting of mine, especially seeing the balance. I crack up laughing at like I'm Scorpio sun in Taurus and rising moon, like or moon and rising, like Taurus, you know? So it's like complete opposite, but I love it because I feel like because of the Scorpio, I'm able to go to both extremes in, you know what I'm saying? And then also have such a beauty in the groundedness, in the sensuality, and, you know, the, uh, I'm so in love with that word right now. So, yeah, do with that what you will. Yes,
Ooh,
excited for
that
my incarnation template.
yeah, that dot connected something for me too. Because I have Taurus. My Mars is in Taurus, so add sensuality to that. And I'm being more specific to the senses and how good it feels
Hmm.
to see and sense. So
Yeah.
you could feel that. You could. So my Taurus and Venus is in, or Mercury, Venus. So my thinking and love style is in Taurus. So I'm like
Ooh.
heavily both in. So the Scorpio, I think my Neptune, no, my Saturn is Scorpio. Where's your Saturn?
I think my Saturn is in Capricorn. What's the shape of Saturn again?
It's, I
I'm
don't
like, if I
remember
close
off the
out of it,
top
it's
of my
gonna
head.
go. Yeah.
I know, yeah,
Okay.
no
I
worries, no
think
worries.
my
We can,
Saturn is in.
is it the,
I don't know.
oh my
I
gosh,
don't
I
know.
can't
It's
believe
not
I'm,
there. I guess it's not important.
yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm like super heavy in Scorpio, Sagittarius, and I have a couple in Capricorn. And then the only other two are in Taurus, except Chiron's in Gemini,
That's
whatever that
wild to
means.
me. I feel
And my
like you,
Lilith is in Aries. I do
okay,
know that.
my Lilith is in Aquarius,
Ooh.
which is Amma Joy. She's my little, I know baby. I know. I asked her a question and she tried to say, I don't know. I was like, girl, you know. She laughed. She was like, I do. I was like, don't play like you don't know. And you know what? I was like, that's actually genius because we don't want to show all our cards everywhere. That was something I had to learn. Don't be so wide open in certain spaces. Don't be so,
Yeah.
because there's a but at the same time, where my weaknesses are, where my blind spot blind spots are, I realized was covering me. I was watching a video. They were talking about mind control, and this is a fellow, someone who studies out the Ashayanadine works. So I knew he was through that lens, because I have to be mindful of where is this frequency, where do they send you? Is it going to be into fear or is it going to lift you up, right? Because those are word spells going into your field. So what you allow
Yeah.
in, you can influence your field not knowing. That's why it's like, okay, I was like, I don't want to be vigilant, like I got to watch my back. And it's like, no, witness. Vigilant is fear based. Witnessed is your still point. You'll be known if something's up. You'll but it's
Hmm.
being in a place so you could hear it clearly. And if you can't, work through that and break it open. So the um what was I talking about? I go into different rooms. I'm like, which room am I? Was I in? Like, which room was I in? What was I? Uh,
Still point
well, it was. Well, I was talking about Emma. That girl knows.
being wide open.
Oh yeah, being too wide open. So through that mind control, they were talking about Disneyland, for example, and different programming that uh, influence mind control to get you to think a certain way. And but through that mind control, uh, I saw a movie open up that they were talking about school, how they watch kids in school, and if they see any kids that have psychic powers, so he calls them handlers. So a lot of the school, and this is not to spread fear. Please don't hear this through a fear-based lens. But if there were certain kids that had clearly stood out, they would target those kids for government related programs, whatever. But I was like, but all of those kids have a DNA template, a Christic DNA template that they could tap into. And I was like, what's really going on here? And so that movie opens up and I was like, wow, I slipped through by my shadow parts, my weaknesses allowed me, because they're watching the DNA, they're watching who's who, so they can nab them. I had these what looks like what's going on the inside isn't always out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like an an agent coming in under the guise of this. I don't know. It was a total perspective shift. I was like, whoa, and came in through, so all those, lack of hearing aids, of course that is an automatic, oh, she's handicapped, she's mentally, whatever those judgments are, whatever those things uh that people perceive with wearing hearing aids, hard of hearing. So I it was like the perfect cover to watch and witness. I am as source coming in to see what is going on here and grow and shift in oversoul, shifting. Okay, this is her DNA template. Da, 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 da. Let's get her to here, and I came through not getting picked up, not getting targeted, not. So I was like, wow. It was like how you said about Perseus in that movie,
Yeah, Percy
Percy
Jackson.
Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, his stepdad in the movie was like just like a slime ball and smelled and was horrific. But he was a cover for that way the demigods and whoever couldn't smell the blood of the god in him. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like that cover.
Yeah. So it was essentially that. So if you're kind of kept hidden, or if you don't feel, if whatever those feelings are, it's for a reason. Your
Yeah.
presence here is connected to the grid, connected to the ether. Again, 15-dimensional time matrix.
Yeah.
Pop. You're carrying that. You are that. And so you alone, just wanting, following that desire, trusting that Christic path, that alone is so powerful. That
Yeah.
is a performance. That is source massaging. Okay, we're going to help awaken here, da, 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 and it's coming through your field more than we. I had to learn that because I'm like, I felt useless on the side of a mountain, but I had to get here to now see. Oh wait, oh whoa.
Yeah.
That's why cities, the concentration. That's why it's you. I can imagine that you'd feel a lot more, but also the collective thinking that can box you in And
Dude, it
sometimes
was
that can
so
be
fascinating
difficult.
because yeah, I've always grown up in more of a urban environment. So, and I lived in Metro Detroit. So, you know what I'm saying? Like super population, right? And the other day I was thinking about this and I was walking down the street
Uh-huh.
and I could feel the absence of one of the homes. Like it was completely gone. And I could feel
Oh.
the like imbalance on the street. Like I could feel the void of that family being there. And I was like, whoa, that is so
Oh.
fascinating and
Yeah.
like just how acclimated we become to the energies of our neighbors or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I've had to learn in my journey as like a super feeler and all of that and living in these places that just because I feel something or it comes into my awareness, it's not necessarily mine or for me, or you know what I'm saying, I just get to witness that. And witnessing it is being that neutral place of love and allowing those other frequencies to be available should they want to rise and meet or whatever, you know. But it's been a fascinating journey learning that and having to keep yourself at a place, you know what I'm saying, like, and that's where I'm like, well, do I feel all of this when it comes, or it's been like a interesting yes and like yeah.
I think there are places where transmute that, and then some of it is just signal, like, okay, I'm receiving, or okay, I see that. Eh, you know,
Yeah, excuse me.
I'm still learning that myself too.
Yeah. And it's just a reminder. It's not like we're ever going to be there and arrive to know it all. It's a continual journey and it's fun. It's on some dimension, it's fucking fun. Um, cause oh, what a game do I got going on over here? Yep.
it.
So we'll leave that sentence right
Yeah.
there, period. And yeah, but we've been at this for like an hour and a half, love. So
I'm
how we
satiated.
feeling? Yeah, same.
Yeah.
All
Are
right.
there any
Well, thanks
comments?
for joining us. In the very beginning we had this one. I'll show it on stage. And to be honest with you, official sold, we're not sure either. So,
What? Yo, what is happening? What the fuck?
yeah. And then someone else commented something, but it must have been a GIF or something because it doesn't show up. It just shows up their name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, yeah, those were the
Yeah.
only comments.
Okay. Just want to be
But
sure
we
there
did
weren't any
get
questions.
some thumbs up and some hearts. And
Yay. Thank
so,
you.
yay, there's some people viewing and sharing love and all of the things. But not a lot of
Awesome.
conversation today. At one point, we had like 12 viewers. So, a
Okay.
lot of people watching, but not
All good.
commenting or interacting. Yeah, yeah, we're
Yeah.
grateful for the
We're
transmission.
that means you're in it. You're present.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right,
Oh.
thanks for joining
Y'all
us.
have a
Love
blessed
you.
week.
Yeah.